Stillborn to Life, a novella by Valerie Lynn Stevens. Chapter 19. Sitting here, wrapped up within the quiet repose of morning, my soul gently awakens to a heavy sense of my own imminent mortality. So as the sun rises, it also sets, everything returning to the same source. And this choice of a voice to speak completely and unabashedly without rhetoric, but filled with passionate surety and conviction, is perhaps the cry of every mortal human soul. Ars longa vita brevis est, indeed. But as for death, despite the longevity of art and the brevity of life, how long coming it seems when at last we have reached its gates. I am stolen away by the gnawing fever in my brain, given to the preponderance of all of this once again, only this time, not merely in the abstract. And traveling at the speed of now, out of the corner of my mortal eye, infinity passes too quickly by, as all sophistry of the where, why, what, when, how, and who surrenders both erstwhile and forthwith to the masterful craftsmanship of that prolific potter of antiquity, while the temporal eternal faithfully keeps vigil with a Mona Lisa smile all this while. The leagues of the mind converge, arriving upon disembodied truths, understood but not fully comprehended or apprehended, so indecipherable they have grown to the conundrum-dumbed tongue. And now, sound and sight pass from their incarnate glory into the densified annals of the rest, the absurd. For this body and its modes of being are truly seasoned only for the art and technique of comedy. And again, perhaps tragedy is a concept which we humans invent to lend ourselves credibility, as we seem only to be taken as seriously as we manage to be convincingly indifferent. And so does the most pernicious tragedy lie within the trickery and deception we must pretend when all we truly want to be is simply that which we are, in our nakedness and honesty. And so it all seems to come down to want versus need, a dilemma intractably inherent within creatures that need to want more often than we want to need. And indeed, if only the most pertinent information could exist. But then I fear we would invent tragedy on even grander, more catastrophic scales, and the comedic might just become our sole idol, and nothing would be sacred save the profane. And yet we still cry out, nihilo sanctum est. And we are saved for as long as we can fully seek that answer solely within ourselves. The angels still gather at my feet every morning. I feel their leaden promises of buoyant liberation weigh heavily upon my weary heart. They lift up their voices so silverish and oddly benign, as if I cannot really hear them, but only see something like footnotes settling into the dark crevices of the bedsheets, whose utterances cannot possibly be read, only recalled. I now walk the streets once more, my pace quickening as I continue on, drawing faithfully upon the satirical determinants of the body's massive superencumbered purpose, to deceive transcendental consciousness, always biting at the heels as we struggle to maintain the facade of pragmatic initiative and resolve, these things truly being mere antonym to the magnum opus of life. I am brought to a halt at the raucous intersection, pedestrian walkway looming before me, its bold, adjudicating white lines assaulting an otherwise perfectly black, tar-marred earth. And I think to myself that perhaps today I will teleport. For yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of doubt, I will fear only this doubt. For the rod and staff of any God cannot comfort thee in the face of this. Doubt, the Dracul of hope, always in search of the blood of saints, that rich liquid gold of the reverent and truly noble, those who have crafted of their souls impenetrable temples of diamond, onyx, lapis lazuli, and mother of pearl. Might I become one of these, O my God, for only then do thy rod and thy staff comfort me, guiding me to the stillest waters and the greenest pastures, no matter what might very well lie on that other side. For despite their perilous proximity to the fiercest opposition, have they remained the safest places to dwell, where the encompassing skies whisper of joyous lament, and one's greatest strength becomes one's greatest weakness, and at last, the mortal human soul can surrender to the tides of sanctification and be redeemed. For only He restoreth the fatally aggrieved mind, turning all which humankind has used towards its own usurpation and destruction into victory over evil. For He can dwell only in those places most high, where reason and devout circumspection are at their peaks of concern and dominion. For soon my mind's eye would gaze directly into the sun, not blinding me, but enlightening and honing my sight unlike it had ever been before. And those clouds bearing acidic rains of the scathing reproach of my archaic cardinal heritage could no longer lurch in menacing overcast. And a new season would be heralded, bringing to its close the human need for meaning of any form or cause. And as we struggled to comprehend the meaning in order that we might someday come to mean the struggle, very soon we saw how this in and of itself becomes the struggle's end. And now I saw it all so clearly and could hear the bells tolling the song of true freedom and exaltation. Yet I still feared that, if left completely unguarded and undammed, my heart might hemorrhage and I would seep with unbounded, vibrant joy and love until the end of my days, merely existing for their sake alone. And what then? For it could not possibly be sustained, this feeling that I had found of such unheeded warmth, dynamism, and weightlessness, and hence what I regarded with a healthy dose of skepticism as long as my soul still took up residence within this fleshly inhabitancy. But perhaps it could be possible to always live in this state. Perhaps we were the only obstacle. Perhaps then should I lend my body to science, no ethical boundaries left inviolable. I look up and the sky is crying. Its tears reflect my eyes upon the surface tension of infinite rivers of contemplation. These blessed rains surge through my veins, my earth-sunken toes retapping their roots again. In the absence of disunity, my finite essence is nourished, rehydrated, and found, at once unbound by the painfully constrictive gauze and abrasive balm of all worldly afflictions and so-called cures. I stand now, a human tree, awaiting to be sunken back beneath yet above it all, nestled again within the womb of the omniscient benevolence, to sprout up in due time. a new creation, wielding fruits to overflowing.